what I was like as a teenager reading this book. I was not yet at a developmental stage of life where I was ready to consider that my mother was a full human being with a complex inner life and emotional baggage of her own and hopes and dreams.
You're listening to Books We've Loved from NPR,
the book show where we reread old favorites and tell you why they still matter today.
I'm Andrew Limbong.
And I'm B.A. Parker.
What's going on, Parker? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, Andrew?
Good. I stayed up late last night folding laundry and watching the movie version of the book we're about to talk about. So it was a really productive, solid sesh of rolling up socks last night.
We love a multitasking king.
Yeah.
I am also super excited about our book selection, but more importantly, I'm excited about our guest today. Today, we have Wailin Wong, host of NPR's The Indicator.
Hey.
Hello. Thrilled to be here. How are you guys?
Pretty good.
I'm so glad to have you here with me because the book that we're reading for this episode is The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. Published in 1989, The Joy Luck Club is about the shaky relationships between four Chinese immigrant mothers with their four American-born daughters. And it's told through these interlocking vignettes that each story attempts to bridge the gap between generations. And I'm curious of what the two of y'all thought of the book. What was your relationship with the book, first of all?
I first read this novel as a teenager.
Really?
And I was reflecting on what I was like as a teenager reading this book. I was not yet at a developmental stage of life where I was ready to consider that my mother was a full human being
That's real.
with a complex inner life.
That's real.
And emotional baggage of her own and hopes and dreams.
She's there for me.
She's there for me. So it was like really resonant to read this now as an adult when my mom and I have gotten a lot closer.
Oh.
I'm also now raising a tween. I have a 12-year-old daughter.
Fun.
So now I'm in this sandwich generation thing where, you know, I was first generation born in the U.S. I'm now raising second generation biracial Chinese American. So it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. But I loved this novel when I was little. It was really eye-opening, and it was very emotional to read it again.
When you say you were a teenager, are we talking like closer to 14 or 17? Because I think that's a big difference. Like where in that...
Yeah.
For sure. Closer to 14.
Closer to 14.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
interesting.
That's too soon, Wailin. That's too soon.
I mean, lots of stuff I definitely didn't pick up as a teenager, you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Now that you have a tween in a couple of years, you're going to give your kid the Joy Luck Club?
Well, she might want to read it now, actually.
Ooh.
At 12?
Yeah. I mean, my husband and I are big proponents of kids reading books kind of before they're really ready.
Beyond their age,
That's how we were. So I was
true.
encouraging
That's
her to
true.
pick it up now if she's into it. Yeah.
And then they can reread it as an adult and be like, oh, that's right. My mom is a person.
Is a
was
person.
one.
Is a person.
It's a person.
I'm a human being.
Oh my goodness. Well, what about you, Andrew?
I'd never read this book before. I've pretty much only experience of this book was like through the trailers of the movie. You know what I mean? And it's like, I thought that this was just some like kind of saccharine, kind of overly sentimental movie about mothers and daughters who just like get along and hold hands and everybody's in love and happy the whole time. And so I was...
You were right in the first part, not the second part.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I was pleasantly surprised when I read it, where it's like, it's a lot more realistic. It's a lot more true to life. And it's a lot harsher and harder than I thought it was going to be.
Really?
Yeah. But Parker, you picked the book, right?
Yeah.
This is your choosing, right?
I did pick the book. I picked it mostly because I feel like it slipped through the kind of like 90s literary canon of my parents' bookshelf.
Isn't it so interesting how your inner life is shaped by what is on the bookshelves of your home growing up?
The fact that like I read like The Color Purple or like Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood or just like all these big quote unquote women books, and somehow it's like The Joy Luck Club just slipped through that. Like had seen the movie because it was one of those that was like on TV a lot when I was a kid. So I know bits and pieces. Like there's like a scene, even as an adult when I'm on a date, like when the one daughter whose husband is very like, everything has to be equal. Everything has
When the
to
bill
be divided.
comes, you
When
mean
the
you think
bills
about
come.
Harold?
I think about Harold regularly, more than I need to as an adult because of the Joy Luck Club. After the break, we will talk more about Amy Tan and the cultural impact of the Joy Luck Club. Stay with us.
This message comes from Schwab. Everyone has moments when they could have done better, like cutting their own hair or forgetting sunscreen, so now you look like a tomato. Same goes for where you invest. Level up and invest smarter with Schwab. Get market insights, education, and human help when you need it. Learn more at schwab.com.
This message comes from LPL Financial. What if you could have more control over your future? LPL Financial removes the things holding you back and provides the services to push you forward. Because when it comes to your finances, your business, your future, LPL Financial believes the only question should be, what if you could? LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. No strategy assures success or protects against loss. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal.
This message comes from Progressive Insurance and the Name Your Price tool. It helps you find car insurance options in your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
And we're back. So before the break, we talked about our personal connections to the Joy Luck Club, but I'd like to zoom out and talk about Amy Tan, the author, a little bit more. She was born in 1952 in Oakland and wrote much of the Joy Luck Club while working as a freelance business writer. So all of us need a side hustle. So she was ghostwriting for companies before deciding to try fiction. Hopefully she was a better writer than Jingmei. And then the book started as a short story that like expanded into these interconnected tales. So Tan initially thought the manuscript might sell only a few thousand copies, and then it became like this surprise bestseller, spending over 40 weeks on the New York Times list. Yeah, like, is it not surprising? But this is like because it is the template, the fact that it has gained so much traction so quickly. There's also, with most things that become that popular, there is a bit of pushback.
Yeah, I had to take some
against
lumps,
that.
yeah.
And I wanted to talk about that pushback a little bit. I read that, like, in some instances, the idea, like, Amy Tan's name has been shorthand for a slur of, like, a certain kind of distinctive literature that some feels betrays Asian men in some aspects.
You know what's so interesting is I was talking to a friend who's Chinese American, and he said that his dad hates Amy Tan.
Really?
And it's because of this reason that, like, Amy Tan was, portrayed Asian men in this really derogatory way. And this is something that his dad has carried with him for all this
35
time.
years?
I mean, and I was
Damn.
like, that is like powerful stuff, right? Because I think the backlash, especially around the portrayal of Asian men and men in this novel, I think it started kind of immediately, right? And like some people still hang on to it, which is so interesting to me.
Yeah, I went and read Frank Chin, who's a playwright and like a literary critic. He had like bones to pick with Amy Tan, Maxine Honkix, and David Henry Hwang, and his article was sort of like taking them down.
He's got to pick a struggle.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with the article. I do love a professional hater, so I gotta respect him on that front. You know what I mean? This guy. When he's talking about Joy Luck Club in particular, I hope I'm characterizing his argument correctly, but I think his argument is like it sort of orientalizes China and mischaracterizes it in an inauthentic and insincere way. Which at first I was like, I don't, because his bone to pick is like the way that Tan uses the short stories about the swans, right, in the interstitial chapters, isn't accurate to how Chinese people think of as swans. My gut reaction when reading it, I was like, I don't care. Like this doesn't matter to me at all. As a reader, as a person reading the book, like how true it is to the mythology of China. It's like I understand it, how it works, how it functions in the book. It doesn't matter to me, like the history, right? But I know that because I'm a man in his 30s, I do love internet dark holes, and so I went in deep on how
you go some Asian men's rights.
Oh, brother,
No,
you don't got it.
Andrew,
You don't got it.
no.
You know,
Ooh, you just gazed right into the abyss.
yeah, you gotta.
I'm getting a stomach ache just.
Yeah. To be fair, I think their bone to pick, right, is that many of the daughters end up with white guys, which again, I don't know, okay, cool, like love is love, whatever, and that the depiction of Asian men is as villains paints Asian men in America in like a bad light. And I don't know, maybe this is me talking from the comfort of 2025 where not that baggage is over and done with or whatever, but it's like maybe she just needed a bad guy for the story.
To me, the villain in the story is not the men or any particular man. I think, if anything, to me, the novel read as indifferent to men's interiority.
Oh, that's so much worse, though. So much worse.
You think that's
when
worse?
you stop caring about it.
Oh, no.
I mean, I think like Amy Tan was not like super concerned with what the men were feeling because this is a novel about mothers and daughters, right? And
Yeah.
like, so this is how I read the novel. If there's a villain, the villain is the patriarchy, right? It's always about a system to me. The
Amen.
villain is the patriarchy, the way that women, their options are very limited for marriage and for motherhood, and how that informs kind of their relationship with their daughters down the line. And so to me, the villain is the patriarchy.
But it's also, okay, this is also like my pushback is like, this is a very specific type of genre of book. Again, like The Color Purple.
All my life I had to fight. I had to fight my daddy. I had to fight my uncles. I had to fight my brothers.
Like Fried Green Tomatoes.
If you ever touch her again, I'll kill you.
Where like a man has to be the bad guy in order for this book to thrive. And that bad guy tends to be of the culture that the protagonist is in. But then what you get because of The Color Purple, Spike Lee made She's Gotta Have It. Like, that was his response. He was so mad at the creation of The Color Purple and how it demeaned black men that, like, this needed to be a response. I'm sure, well, I don't know. Maybe now someone can respond to the Joy Luck Club in a healthy, mature, non-hostile way in literature.
But I wonder how much of this is the movie's fault, because I watched the movie, right? It was like 1993, directed by Wayne Wang, and because it's a movie, it has to pick and choose all the like most quote unquote exciting stuff, and all the most exciting stuff that happens, one would argue, is when dudes are being really bad to the women in the thing, right? And so it really showcases that, whereas the book, there's all this interiority, and you realize it is about the system and not about these specific dudes. And so I wonder how much of it is the fault of like the movie being popular and people not actually reading the book itself. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I didn't like the movie very much, but yeah.
You
Oh, you
didn't
didn't like
like
it?
the movie?
I thought the movie was what I thought the book was going to be. You know? It was a bit too saccharine for me. Too sentimental. Yeah.
So it's me you're mad at?
No. I'm just sorry that you got stuck with such a loser. That I've always been so disappointing.
What you mean disappoint? Piano?
Everything. My grades, my job, not getting married. Everything you expected of me.
Not expect anything. Never expect. Only hope. Only hoping best for you.
It's 1993. It has to be sentimental.
Yeah. I mean, aren't they? They're making a new one, right? Or something?
Yeah.
Or
I mean, there's a script has been written for a sequel to the Joy Luck Club, which I don't know what that would mean. Would that be
like the next generation down or something?
I mean, God help them. Like, it's we're gonna relay all of your grandmother's grief.
Yeah.
And then you're going to remember that now I'm a person. And now
the cycle continues.
Yeah.
But when we talk about in this book kind of like these generational stories and how that has kind of picked up in the zeitgeist now, I think about with Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think about Seeing Red, which stressed me out.
Oh, I love that movie,
It
Turning
was-
Red, right?
Turning
The
Red.
animated
Turning
film.
Red
Mhm.
was so cute, but also stressed me out. Mom had real Lindo energy. And then,
Wait, that movie, that was about like periods, right?
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like when your mom is a little too controlling, and you're like, Ma, I need you to let go.
I was thinking about The Farewell, right? Did you ever see
Oh,
The
The
Farewell? That was a good
Farewell.
movie.
If you need
Yeah.
a good cry, do
Yeah.
a double feature of
More
that and
recently,
Coco.
I watched that movie Dee Dee a couple months ago.
Oh, that one I
Ooh.
haven't seen yet.
That was a rough one, Andrew.
I mean, that was. I had bones to pick about skater culture and like emo culture, but other than that, I thought it was,
But I mean, I think because these stories, not that they're more prevalent, we just named four, three. That's still not a lot, but it has grown more so than from like 1993 or from this book in 1989. But do we feel like, because it was the only representation that existed at the time, that now there is space for more expansive stories? So now it's not like, oh, we're mad at the Joy Luck Club because this has to represent all Asian people in 1989.
I think the blame, if you want to call it that, gets a little bit misplaced, right? Like, I don't blame Amy Tan for creating a world in which it seemed like the only pieces of pop culture getting greenlit from Asian creators would have to be about intergenerational trauma. I think this is a function of how cultural gatekeeping works, right? That publishers, movie studios, they think in terms of comp titles, right? They think of like, what does this new thing you're proposing, what does it resemble? And Joy Luck Club did so well that they were like, well, more of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like Maxine Hong Kingston, Woman Warrior came out in the 70s. So it's like in the 70s, we got one. Then it was Amy Tan in the 80s. And so, like, if intergenerational immigrant trauma stories that, like emphasize the otherness of the Chinese experience in America, whatever, if that's what proves popular, that's what the publishers will demand more of, right? Which is frustrating. It's not Amy Tan's fault, right? I think Kathy Park Hong talks about this in Minor Feelings, her essay collection, the constraints that this has put on like future generations of writers and Asian writers.
And I feel like there's still like that pressure, even when like an Asian film wins Best Picture at the Oscars. It's just like, this has to represent all of these, like a whole entire group of people.
I did appreciate how mid the women are, right? Like, I'm a big fan of the low achieving Asians in media.
Yeah, Asian mediocrity. We need
Asian
more
mediocrity.
representation of Asian mediocrity.
Coming up,
this version of Chinese culture that's presented in the novel that does ring true to me in a lot of ways, like this idea of you're swallowing bitterness.
stay with us.
This message comes from NPR sponsor Sierra. No matter the industry, how businesses connect with customers defines their brand. And today, connection starts with a conversation. Sierra is the platform for businesses that want to provide better, more human customer experiences with AI. With Sierra, your AI agent solves problems fast. No stock answers, no hold music. Visit Sierra.ai to learn more.
This message comes from Kachava. Sometimes people stock their fridge with good intentions, only to have their future self sacrifice nutrition for convenience. Keep your body and mind nourished with whole body meal shakes from Kachava. It's got 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, and so much more, but it actually tastes delicious. Try one of Kachava's indulgent flavors today. Your future self will thank you. Go to Kachava.com and use code NPR for 15% off your next order.
And we're back. So I want to talk about just like these larger themes that are in the book, because there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, we've talked a little bit about the mother-daughter relationship, but I don't think we fully discussed just how like fully dysfunctional that it is, that they are like every pair of mother and daughter in this book feels like two ships passing in the night.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a way that the mom feels like through osmosis, my daughter is going to understand me. And then the daughter has like an outburst. And it's just like, well, why is my daughter mad at me? Why doesn't she get that I'm doing this for her?
I think the way the book is structured makes it so that every interaction between mother and daughter is subtext that you know already, right? So it'll give you the history, and then you bring with that all the baggage. You understand all the weight that everybody is dealing with, but you know that, and they don't know that. And I think that's what makes it work. It's like, oh, if only you guys would just like know about this little tidbit from this other person's life, you guys would get along swimmingly. And I think that is one of the fun things about the architecture of this book that makes it really work.
Yeah, like there's like this like really fun dramatic irony throughout. But there's also a scene where, was it Linda was getting her hair done? And
For the wedding,
Rory.
right?
for the wedding. And the daughter Waverly is getting more and more frustrated with her mom. And Linda was like trying her best. And I just want to leap through the book and be like, okay, here's what's happening.
Like, you want to go in and, like, hold their hands and be like, mediate a little bit.
There's like a Dr. Phil inside of me that feels like I could fix this.
I mean, I feel like the main argument for this book is that you should talk to your parents and ask them what their deal is.
And that's so hard, right? Like, and I
Yeah.
think like a prevailing theme is the difficulty of that in Chinese culture, at least this version of Chinese culture that's presented in the novel, that does ring true to me in a lot of ways. Like this idea of you're swallowing bitterness, you know, like that's a phrase. It's like this idea that like horrible things happen, or you have a lot of grief or things in your life that don't go your way, but instead of expressing them or, you know, burdening someone else with those things, you swallow all that bitterness and you internalize it, and you never learn how to talk to other people about what's going on with you. And sometimes that can turn into kind of like a slow poison, right? That like poisons the relationships you have with other people. I have seen this kind of cultural generational inability to really talk about what's on your heart, you know? And I'm grateful that in my own family, I think we've kind of maybe adopted some more Western notions or some more modern notions of trying to be more open about our feelings. But it takes work, and it's not a given.
Yeah. You know, when you're at like a dinner or something and an elder just casually drops the most traumatic experience of their life and just
This
keeps it
happens to
moving.
me a lot.
And you're like,
With my
wait,
parents,
no.
yes.
What do you mean you abandoned a group of some children back home and now I'm your
Yeah.
only child in America?
And then they're like, oh, are there any more sodas in the fridge? Do you know? You
Like,
know?
no, circle back.
Yes, exactly.
I think also when it comes to like not understanding your like the two ships passing in the night and like just not knowing like the fullness of your parents in the case of this book, what also struck me is I guess because it might just be because every scenario was so traumatic for the moms, you can feel the consequences of their decision making. Like, I've got to get to America somehow. I'm going to have to abandon my kids, or like I'm going to have to make these like really heavy decisions that feel like all encompassing. And I feel like we've reread a couple of other books this season where just like marriage is the thing, and it's like this flighty,
You're thinking about
beautiful.
I was gonna bring up Pride and Prejudice. Is
Go,
that
go,
what
go,
you're
go,
thinking
go.
of?
Please, please, please.
Oh yeah, no. So yeah, earlier this season, we're reading Pride and Prejudice.
I
and
love Pride and Prejudice.
We're a big defender of Lizzie's mom, right? Who?
Oh yeah, Mrs.
is a
Bennet.
bit. Yeah, Mrs.
She's just
Bennett.
trying to secure her daughter's futures.
That's what we're
Exactly,
saying.
Wailin.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And her nerves are very fragile. If Kitty would just stop coughing for 1 second.
Yes, exactly. And so I don't know. I was thinking about Mrs. Bennet a lot in reading this book, which is kind of funny if you think about it for a second. Where it's like, oh, I wish we got the Joy Luck Club treatment for Mrs. Bennet, right? Like to see what kind of what baggage she was bringing to the table.
My cultural understanding of me just trying to figure out while reading the book, we talk about like the villain, and not the villain, like the bad guy of the book, and I feel like the bad guy is assimilation. For me, like that was the bad guy. It was because so much of the book, the moms have to think in such a binary when it's like you're either Chinese or you're American. And I guess there's a part of me now in like the 21st century that's like, oh no, baby, you can be all these things
You can do all
together.
the things, yeah.
Like, you can be all the things. And it's like, no, this smile is Chinese, this smile is American. There's like this great divide, and the daughters that they have here have to like absorb that. So that was something that I, as an outsider to that, was just trying to navigate and thought was really interesting.
Yeah, and I think that this novel is important. Well, it's important for a lot of reasons, but I think one of the reasons it's important and resonant is because it maybe kind of introduced this idea to a mainstream audience when it was published. This idea that you have children of immigrants in the U.S. who hold this duality, and it is a source of struggle for them. I wonder if for a lot of non-Asian, non-Chinese readers, if this was kind of the first time they had considered that kind of emotional experience for maybe people they knew in their life or were in community with. And I think that that's like the lovely thing about what literature can do, right? And portraying that kind of interiority.
Am I entering my old head era where I was like agreeing when what you were saying when one of the moms was like, "You're either Chinese or you're American," you know? And I was like, "Yeah, it's." I'm like, "You're right."
You have to pick one?
Yeah, I don't know. I was feeling extremely like cranky reading this book, agreeing along with just the moms, you know?
You also could just be a grump. It's okay.
Yeah, I might just be a grumpy guy. All right, that's as good a place as any. We're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, we'll answer the question as to why we should read Joy Luck Club now. And then we're going to also do everyone's favorite segment, Phone a Fan, where we'll talk to author Jasmine Chan. Stick around.
This message comes from Babbel. Babbel's conversation-based language technique teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world, with lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/NPR. Spelled BABBEL.com/NPR. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Okay, so Wailin, why should this book be read now?
It is honestly just a great read. And it's easy to read. It goes down really easy. The fact that it's these interconnected vignettes, it's very digestible, it's very readable. And I think that oftentimes we're like, oh, you should read this because it's important, because it's like dense, it'll make you feel smart. And like, you know, this novel perhaps will make you feel smarter or more informed or kind of illuminate some portion of the Chinese American experience for you. But honestly, it's just a great fast read. And I think sometimes we deny ourselves the pleasure of just like a really well-written kind of mainstream novel that just clocks along and that has a lot of memorable moments. And so I think just as like a pure pleasure read, it's well worth your time.
Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah, I think...
You agree?
I agree. We've talked about this before. I think this is like the template for a lot of immigrant narrative stories. If you're going to add another one to the pile, we have a lot already on the deck, but if you're going to add a lot to the pile, you got to shoot for like this or higher is what my thinking is.
It's like the text, the
Yeah, exactly.
Text.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fully agree. Loved it. I'm really disappointed that I hadn't read it earlier because it does it fits the mold of a book I could talk to my mom about that I really, I don't know. I've been annoying her with my takes on the Joy Luck Club for the past week. So it's been really, really good.
She has been like the low-key editor of this entire series.
She has been. All of the books that were on the bookshelf when I was a kid that I pulled from her and my grandparents' bookshelves. So this has been it's been really nice. This is also a side note that there's an audiobook I also listen to because I'm cooking because sometimes,
Nice.
But the actress Gwendolyn Yao putting in work.
She did everybody? They didn't do the thing where they get different
everybody.
people?
She did everybody.
Sheesh.
All right. So now we're going to go to if you like this, read that. If you didn't like this, try that. And we're going to put in our book recommendations. If you're feeling the Joy Luck Club, here's another option. Wailin, you want to go first?
Yes. My recommendation is The Fox Wife by Yangsze Choo. This was one of my favorite books from last year. It is historical speculative fiction is how I would describe it. It takes place in Manchuria in the early 1900s, and it's a detective story that's interwoven with Chinese folklore, and it's about motherhood and family bonds, and it's really evocative, really beautiful. I cried buckets reading it and just was really moved by it. And it also has such a vivid sense of time and place. So that is The Fox Wife by Yangsze Choo.
All right. Andrew?
I was thinking a lot reading this book about, I did this piece a few years ago about this author named Anthony Veasna. So he died really young. He died at 28, but after he died, they posthumously released his first short story collection, which is called Afterparties. And it's about essentially Cambodian Americans living in like a California suburb. What I was thinking about it with this novel, with Joy Luck Club, is that it does have the baggage of like the parents' history. And if you know anything about the history of Cambodia and immigration and all of that stuff going on, but also it's just about dirtbags smoking weed and making out and stuff like that. I liked how it was pushing this narrative forward about what Asian American literature could be in thinking about this book. So yeah, that's Anthony Veasna's Afterparties.
So I went with like another classic. I went straight for the generational trauma and being haunted by the past. And so I went with Toni Morrison's Beloved because I felt like it is in the vein of just like mother who can't communicate because of the past and like daughters who have to endure because of it.
Damn, I gotta call my mom now, right?
I feel like this is what the Joy Luck Club tells you. At the very end, I feel like the last sentence Amy Tan wanted to write was, call your mom.
Call your
I
mom.
know. I had a very emotional call with my mom yesterday, and I think it's because I've had all of this like in my head.
Wailin, thank you so much.
Yeah, Wailin,
Thank you. This was so fun.
So let's hear my conversation with one of our favorite writers about the Joy Luck Club, author Jasmine Chan, for this week's segment of Phone a Fan. Hey, Jasmine.
Hey, Parker. Thanks so much for the opportunity to be here.
Are you kidding me? This is great. So for listeners who haven't read your debut novel, The School for Good Mothers, is about how if you're labeled, quote, unfit mother, you're sent to a school to learn to be a good mother, so to speak. But you're under constant surveillance, and your protagonist, Frida, is fighting to get out of the school to be reunited with her daughter, Harriet. Is that succinct enough?
Yes, I generally describe it as about a Chinese-American single mom who has to spend a year at an imaginary government-run reform school in order to get her toddler daughter back. And what I tell everyone for like the shortest elevator pitches, it's a little like 1984, but for moms.
Jeez Louise. I mean, accurate. That's right. So I wanted to talk to you because you are a big fan of the Joy Luck Club. And you read the Joy Luck Club when you were a tween, right?
Yes, when I was a tween a very, very long time ago. So the Joy Luck Club was really a foundational text, not just for my journey as an author, but also just a foundational text for just being a person. I mean, I read this book in the early 90s when I was in junior high, and the copy that I reread for this taping was actually my parents' first edition copy from 1989 that has some of my mom's notes in the margins and has like an occasional like splash of food in it. So it was a really special experience to get to revisit a book that's so important to me.
So now that you've revisited it, has the perspective shifted?
Well, I think what was interesting in rereading it was how much of the book captured this story of my grandmother's and mother's generations, because I'm the Gen X generation that came after the baby boom daughters in the book. And so the mother's stories in the book really reflect what my grandmothers went through. And then my mother is now around the same age that the Joy Luck Club daughters would be in 2025. And so it was certainly really eye-opening and similarly profound to read it as a 47-year-old mom of a biracial 8-year-old daughter, and to really think about what my grandmothers went through and like surviving war and like how strange it must have been to come to America And also the fierceness of the mother's love really is something I could only really understand now as an adult.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, if Amy Tan's storytelling is about remembering the past and yours is about surviving the present, what do they both suggest about the future of motherhood?
So I've been thinking a lot about freedom in relation to motherhood, and also because we live about 5 minutes from the Broadview Detention Center in suburban Chicago. And so I was reading this book that's so much about the American dream while military helicopters circle overhead day and night. And so I've been thinking a lot about the hope that these mothers have of coming to America and the lives that they want for their daughters. And so it's been kind of scary to think about how the current administration almost wants us to go back to this past vision of motherhood that occurred in China in the early 20th century and occurred all over the world, of forced birth and wildly repressive patriarchy and girls and women having such limited options. So I hope the future of motherhood will be one of greater freedom than we have right now. And I think that what is exciting about the ability of books is to be able to help people stay curious. There's part of what is causing the societal breakdown is a total lack of curiosity about other people's experiences. And I hope that both books will encourage empathy, because one of the things that I was reflecting on and thinking of the commonalities between the books is I think there is a thread of community and the importance of community and the danger of moms having to do it all alone. The friendships in the Joy Luck Club I think were something that gave me so much hope reading about it as a lonely Chinese girl in the early 90s, where I was one of the only Chinese kids around. And so it gave me this vision of this future where you're not just all alone, but you're one of many.
Jasmine, okay, that was a perfect answer. Thanks so much, Jasmine. So glad I could give you a ring. And be sure to pick up Jasmine's latest novel, The School for Good Mothers, out now.
And that's the show. This episode was produced by Cher Vincent and edited by Megan Sullivan.
Engineering support this week from Jimmy Keeley, and our executive producer is Yolanda Sanguini.
If you enjoyed our conversation, you should check out our episode on Pride and Prejudice with Pop Culture Happy Hour's Linda Holmes. We get into another mother-daughter relationship, Lizzie and Mrs. Bennet. Thank you for listening to Books We've Loved from NPR. We'll see you next time.
This message comes from REI Co-op. Don't be surprised when you're this season's best gift giver. REI's curated outdoor gear takes the guesswork out of gifting, so you won't be surprised, but they will. Give without guessing. Shop in-store or at rei.com. This message comes from NPR sponsor Vuori, featuring the Core Short. Receive 20% off your first purchase on any U.S. orders over $75 and free returns at vuori.com/NPR. Exclusions apply. Visit the website for full terms and conditions. This message comes from REI Co-op. Don't be surprised when you're this season's best gift giver. With REI's curated selection of outdoor gear, from top-rated running shoes to merino wool base layers, you don't have to guess. REI makes it easy to find the gear that gets them out there. It gets even easier with trusted advice and recommendations from REI's outdoor pros in over 190 stores. So when you gift them something they'll actually use, you won't be surprised, but they will. This season, give without guessing. Shop in-store or head to rei.com.